Okay, good morning, good morning, good morning. My thought for you this morning is on waking up, not just in the physical sense, obviously, because it's early, but in the spiritual sense. I've been thinking a lot about this, process that we go through and saying a lot that, we can never bypass the moment that we're in. That's what I've been saying this week is you can't bypass where you are and the experience that you're having. And at the same time, we're given this kind of broad understanding that there's really only ever one place to be, and that's right now. And the being in the right now is not having a focus on what it is that you're doing, right? That's how our mind experiences things of what I'm doing, but to actually be in the full experience of what's happening, right? Not what am I doing, but what am I in the middle of, right? What am I in the middle of in terms of experience? And so in that sense, it's a little bit more of going underneath the doing to feel what's actually being felt, right? And that's not just the emotions, but that's the actual, what is the meaning of what you're doing? So it's like saying that instead of doing yoga and saying I'm doing yoga poses, is that the act of being in yoga is being in togetherness or being in harmony with your body. It's whatever that experience is for you, but that's the now, right? It's not the thing that you're doing. It's the experience of literally where you are in your realm of perception, right? And so the waking up to this is something that we do over and over and over and over again. We come to this realization that no matter what we're doing, there's the moment where we can just be where we are, right? Where we stop the doing and we actually are just here. So eyes closed for a moment. And this hit me the other day quite a bit, right? It was snowing a little bit, if you noticed. And I think maybe it was just yesterday that it was snowing a little bit and it was unexpected. And my mind registered that it was snowing, but I realized that I never stopped to actually just look at the snow, right? That's the difference between being in the now with what you're doing and being now with the experience that's happening. So we spend a lot of time just registering, right? The mind registering things that are going on, but we're not actually there for it, right? Where our mind is on to the next thing. So in this moment, can you connect to your breath? And connect to your breath, not in a way where you're looking for your breath to take you somewhere or that the experience of your breath is going to somehow just enlighten you, but your breath being a way that your mind expands its parameters so that you can feel what you are experiencing right this moment, not your emotions. That's part of it. Can you feel where you are? What is this act of being awake in the world? Right? And it's purely that kind of noticing of what's happening, not judging, not thinking, not categorizing, but just noticing what is happening. And it's in that noticing that it's said those spurts of joy or bliss or completeness happen, not in the doing. You're feeling the inhale and you're feeling the exhale, but underneath that, where are you? You might not have a name for it, but that's what I want you to keep looking for, is that underneath the actions that you're doing, where are you? What is this now? Right? The eternal question, what is this moment? I don't mind if you struggle with it. That's part of practice. Take a couple more deep breaths where you really are just looking for what's underneath. Watching yourself breathe, watching yourself be. And looking for the answer, letting the answer rise up. What is this moment? Then one more deep breath in, pause at the top of the inhale. Then an exhale, releasing the breath and releasing your shoulders. And inhale again, pause at the top of the inhale. And exhaling, releasing the holding in your belly and in your pelvis. And inhale again, pause at the top of the inhale. And exhale, relax your jaw and relax your eyes. And then bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. We'll open with the sound of Om, deep breath in. And letting the eyes float open. Nice, you guys, release your hands, please. Then come forward to hands and knees, come into child's pose, knees nice and wide, big toes together to touch, hips back to your heels. On the stranger note, I was thinking about this concept of, the spiritual waking up in the Buddhist terms, and a lot of the Buddhist stories about, people coming into that enlightenment moment look like they don't make any sense. Right? It's things like stories of someone being told to just carry rocks around over and over and over again until they have this moment where, it's like their mind breaks and they experience enlightenment. Or the type of thing where it said the thing that, pushed them over the edge was someone giving them a slap in the face. And you say, well, that doesn't sound like the way it's supposed to work. Walk your torso to the right, please, over your right thigh. But if you consider, right, is that concept of of moving rocks around. And in the story, of course, it's move rocks over here because I need them over there. And then as soon as the person's done, their guru or their teacher says, yeah, no, not really. I don't need them over there. I need them over here. Like move them back to where they were. All right. So it seems meaningless. But the unendingness of that is the same as our everyday lives, right? The unendingness of the tasks, of the things that there are for you to do. Come back to center, please. Go to your left. It's like that moving rocks. That doesn't mean that the things that you're doing every day are meaningless, but it does imply that just by doing those things is not really going to create anything different for your mind, right? It's just going to continue to have an endless list of things to do. So it's just like moving rocks around. Come back to center, please. Good. A deep breath in, deep breath out. Good, and then walk yourself up to hands and knees and start to cat and cow, inhaling, lengthening your spine, lifting the chest and the tail, exhaling, curling and rounding. Good. So the thought comes, right, that it's not in the doing the right things or even doing meaningful things that experience happens. It's when the mind has that moment where it breaks that pattern that it happens. Right? Where it's no longer looking for what's the meaning of what I'm doing, but it's experiencing just being here, right? The moment where you realize suddenly that it's snowing and you stop and just watch the snow. Or where you realize that the blue sky is the blue sky and you're just fixated. Or it can be anything really that just brings your mind into that total moment of I'm just present, no thinking, no acting. So it's almost like we go about it all wrong, right? Thinking that if I do the right things, if I meditate, it's all understand. But really we meditate to prime the mind, to be open, so that when those moments in our lives happen, we can have that break and we have that experience of, wow, I'm just right here. Come back to stillness, please. Stretch your right leg back behind you. Toes tucked on the floor. Cross that foot over your left ankle, please. So towards the bottom left-hand corner of your mat. Toes are still tucked. Look over your left shoulder towards that heel. Good. And breathe into that left side body. Good. Don't let your hip drop low, though. Keep it lifted. Nice. The belly is still engaged. You're looking over the left shoulder. Good. Really curve into that right side body. Beautiful. And then come back to center. Take that right leg back in line with your hip, lift it up off the floor, level with the floor, and then walk your left arm forward, take a balance. Good. Just extending. And then without bending anything, just pull the arm into the socket, pull the thigh up into the hip socket, squeeze in towards the middle and push out through the crown of your head. Good. One more deep breath from the back of your heart, lift up. Nice. Good, Alice. And then release back to hands and knees, please. Good. Take the left leg back behind you, toes tucked. Cross it over the right heel, so you're reaching to that bottom right-hand corner of your mat. And then look over the right shoulder, breathing into your left side ribs. Good. Left side waist. Nice. And again, don't let your hip drop low. That left hip has a tendency to sink, so lift it up. Good. Really curl through your ribs, you guys. So don't just look over the shoulder, but really round and pull towards that right side. Good. And then come back to center, please. Take that left leg back straight in line with your hip and then lift it up off the floor. Walk the right arm forward to straight. Take your balance. And again, you're trying to find where it feels like you have the same amount of lift through your shoulder and through your thigh, or through your arm and through your leg. Good. It's a little tricky because for most of us, it's easier to lift one or the other. So try and find where it's equal, lifting inner thigh, lifting through the shoulder, and then pull in. Right arm pulls in, left thigh pulls in. Back of your heart goes higher, so you're not dropping your ribs. Nice. Good. And then release back to hands and knees. Circle your hips a little bit, please. Good. So the waking up over and over and over again, because we get busy doing a bunch of things. Move your hips the other way, please. When we get busy, again, our mind registers a lot of what's going on, and we think to ourselves that that means we were present for it, but it doesn't. It just means that we registered that something was happening. So it's like that moment of being struck dumb is the enlightenment moment. Come back to stillness, please. Good. Spread your fingers wide, tuck your toes, lift your hips, come back to downward facing dog. Beautiful. Then walk your feet forward towards your hands. Nice. Come to standing forward fold. Separate your feet as wide as your mat, toes facing straight ahead. Good. Fingertips can stay on the floor here or block. Start to bend your knees. Take your thighs back so your thighs parallel the floor. Knees are not moving forward so much as your butt is moving back. Walk your fingertips straight ahead so you're in sort of a wide chair pose. And then cat-cow your spine. Keep your hips nice and low. Good. Nice, you guys. Good, Stacy, try and get your whole pelvis involved. I know it's an awkward position to do it, but try and get your pelvis to tilt. Beautiful, you guys. Keep your hips low so you're really working through the outer hips and you're feeling the inner thighs. I know you don't want to feel your inner thighs, but this is part of being present. You have them. You should feel them. Good. And then go ahead and come to stillness. Take the legs back to straight, hips to the sky. Drop the head and hang. Hold opposite elbows, please. And then do little figure eights with your shoulders. So you're swaying from side to side. Again, opening up side waist. Nice interpretations of what a figure eight is. Good. And then come back to stillness, please. Take your right hand to the floor, right between the feet or right in front of you. Left arm comes to the sky or to your lower back, spinal twist. Good. Drawing the tops of the thighs back so you're pulling back on the pelvis and pulling forward with the armpits, long throat. Nice. And then release and switch. Left hand comes down to the floor or a block. Right hand comes to your low back or to the sky. Nice, Tom. Just widen just keep pressing your thighs wide. Yeah, especially that left one. Don't let it fall in. Good. Throat back, Lynn. Nice. Everybody else who wasn't Lynn. Everybody drew their throats back. That's great. And then release the hand down to the floor, please. Beautiful. Turn both feet wide here for a moment and then start to come down for squat. I know it's very early and squat might feel like it's a ridiculous thing to say, but see what happens. Good. Squeeze the knees in. Beautiful. You can press the elbows wide into the knees. And again, lifting through your spine, pull up through the top of your head. Deep breath in. And just really be here. Can you let the stretch of your thighs and your groins and your ankles and your neck and your back and your shoulders and your everything, can you be so lost in that you forget what pose you're doing? Just really be here. Good. And then release the hands to the floor, straighten the legs and bow. That was nice, Jessica. Good. Turning the toes forward again. Good. Heel toe your feet a little closer to each other, please. And take your hands to your hips, come all the way up to stand. And hug your right knee up in towards your chest. Squeeze it in. Good. And then cross that right ankle over your left thigh, please. Bend your left knee, come into cross-legged chair. Take your butt back. Good. So the ankle's just over the knee mark, not thigh over thigh, just ankle to knee. Good. Cross-legged chair, butt goes back. Good. Arms up over your head or over the ears. Good. Yeah, get into that feeling of drawing your front rib cage in, drawing the thighs back, letting your butt go back, 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 back. It's not about going down, it's about going back. Good, drop your torso more parallel to the floor so you can really send your butt back. Nice, and then if you can, let your hands come down to the floor with the ankles still crossed, straighten that left leg. Good. Nice, Victoria, good job. Beautiful, you guys. Start to slide that right foot down to the floor, ankle still in front of the left ankle. So you're in a standing forward fold with your right ankle crossed in front of your left. Let both feet come to flat. Good. Yeah, you got it. A little bend in that back knee so that you're not pushing back straight through the knees, and then scoop your belly, push your butt to the sky, drop your heart. Awesome. Nice, and then slowly unwind the legs, both feet underneath the hips. Bend your knees, drop your seat for chair. Take the arms up alongside your ears. Good. Nancy, widen those inner knees just a little bit. Good, and then come all the way up to stand. Nice job, you guys. Pull your left knee up and towards your chest. Then take that ankle across your right thigh or your right knee. Bend your right knee so you take that right butt cheek back. Both butt cheeks back, really. Good. Coming into cross-legged chair on the other side, arms alongside the ears so that you're really in this place of reaching through both ends or both parts of your spine. So your chest is reaching forward, but your low back, your butt is reaching behind you. So you're extending in both directions. Good. Again, it's not about how low can you go. It's how long can you get. Take your butt back. Good. Keep that foot flexed. And then lean forward a little bit more, torso even more parallel to the floor. Take your butt back, let your right knee bend more. Good, Laura. Nice, Harriet. Good, Susan. Both Susans. Good. Release the hands down to the floor. If you can, straighten that right leg with the left ankle crossed. If you need to take the left foot to the floor, go ahead and bring it to the floor. Breath early, that's okay. Good. And then everybody start to take that left foot down to the floor, crossing in front of the right ankle. So you're in a cross-legged forward fold. Good. You got it, Mark. And a little bend to that back knee again. So you let your weight slide forward towards the tips of your toes. And then you straighten your legs by pulling your hips up towards the sky. So again, stretching the hamstrings in not the traditional way of just pushing through the knees or just pushing through the feet. Good. And then unwind the legs again, feet underneath the hips, bend your knees, drop your seat back for chair, take the arms up alongside your ears. Good. And then come all the way back up to stand. Nice. So your right leg is your standing leg. I want you to take your left foot to the inside of your right ankle for a little baby tree, right? And it doesn't matter how high you usually take your tree. I want you to start with your foot posting at the ankle. Good. And make sure your hip points are facing straight ahead here. So this is important. So using, again, just the muscles of your inner thigh, outer hip, stay nice and lifted. Start to slide that left foot up your right leg, no hands. So you only get to go as high as the power of your hip is going to take you. Good. And then wherever you get to, that's where you get to. But you want to keep that feeling that you're still trying the entire time you're in tree as you are drawing that foot up. You're drawing the top of that thigh up. And you're drawing the place of your low belly up and your ribs up and your throat up, and then press down through that right heel. Good. And then arms can go wherever you want them to go. They can stay at your hips or hands at heart center or arms to the sky. Good. But to be in this experience of just the reaching, of it doesn't matter where you get to and it doesn't matter where you began, you're just here. Can you wake up to that? And by wake up, it doesn't mean focus your mind. It means let your mind go blank. Let your mind become just this, whatever this happens to be. What is this moment? Good. One more breath. Pull up, pull up, pull up. Maybe even come up onto the tippy toes of your right foot so that you really have that experience of pulling up. Good. Even if you fall, try. Nice. And then slowly release. Good. Planting the feet, bend your knees, drop back into chair so that you're not just wiggling because that's always what you do. Steady yourself in chair. I mean, I'm all for wiggling, but wiggle meaningfully. Come back to stand, please. All right, we're going to try the other side. So left leg is your standing leg. Post the right foot to that ankle. Make sure your hip points are facing straight ahead so that you're not already twisting out to the right. You want to keep yourself really level to the front of your mat. And then no hands, start to slide that foot up the left leg any amount. Good. And again, it's wherever the foot can go with just the power of your hip. But once you get there, don't stop, right? Keep that feeling of trying to draw the thigh up, trying to draw the hip up, like you're going to bring your knee up into your armpit. Good. Stay lifted, and then arms into whatever position makes you happy. Nice. You're continuously pulling up and then rooting through that right heel. Beautiful. And watch yourself in the pose, not because you're doing it, but because this is where you are. Awesome. Pulling up, pulling up, pulling up. Low belly, low rib cage, throat. Maybe lift up onto the tippy toes of your left foot, or lift the left heel even just a tiny amount so you feel yourself pulling up, 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 up. Really good. And then slowly release. Good. Taking that knee forward, plant the feet, come back to chair. Good. And then in your chair pose, keep the hips nice and low. Come up on the balls of your feet, lift your heels, and drop your hips even lower. Good. Some of you can take that into all the way down into a big squat where your hips come all the way down towards your heels. So you're coming really, really low to the floor. If your knees don't like that, stay where you are. Good. And then let your heels come to the floor. Hands to the floor first might make more sense. And then flatten the feet. Take your legs to straight. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Nice, you guys. Good. Step your right leg back behind you, please. Lunge. Good. Drop that knee to the floor. Both hands come inside the front foot. Start to make circles with that hip. Good. So both hands inside the front foot, Andy. There you go. And circle. Beautiful. Now I find something very liberating in that thought that all of the things on my to-do list, it can really just be replaced with moving rocks. Right? Whatever you're doing or not doing, there will always be more things to do. So yes, certain things are very important, but most of what we do is very meaningful. But the meaning of it is not in getting it all done. It's can you actually be there for the experience of what's underneath? And that's you discovering whatever it is you discover through the doing. Connection, love, unity, harmony. Good. Come back to stillness, please. Front knee over the front ankle. Good. Keep the back knee on the floor. Inhale, both arms to the sky. Anjaneyasana. Good. Squeezing the front heel and the back knee towards each other. Beautiful. One more breath. Lift the heart. Good. And then release the hands down to the floor, please. Lift your back knee up. Good. Drop the back heel. Baby toe parallels back of your mat. Cartwheel the arms up to warrior two. Good. And then slide the right hand down the back thigh. Left palm spins up and back. Reverse warrior. And breathing into your left side body. So Laura, you're on the opposite foot. Take your other foot forward. There you go, just because that's going to be confusing later. Beautiful. Come back up to center, please. Warrior two. Good. Straighten the front thigh for Trikonasana. So preparation triangle pose. Extend through that left side body. Reach, 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 reach. And then let that hand touch down to the floor. Right arm to the sky. Good. Drawing the throat back, drawing the ribs back. Nice, you guys. Good, and then taking the right hand to your right hip, take your gaze down towards the floor, bend your left knee, slide the left hand forward, come into Ardha Chandrasana, stacking the right hip on top of the left. Good. And then if you've got it, stretching that right arm up to the sky, or the hand can stay at the hip, totally fine. But again, I want you to be in this feeling that you are extending. So first, I want you to squeeze everything in, squeeze your arms towards each other, squeeze your legs towards each other. Good. And then I want you to also reach out through both heels. So you're feeling that full connection to the floor. And again, this feeling that you're pulling up through the core of your body, your chest is lifting, your belly is lifting. So maybe you can float your left hand off of the floor, even if it's just for an instant. You start to take your weight away from that and you just get into that feeling of being suspended. Beautiful. Really good, you guys. Nice. Oh, you had it, Mark. Good. And then release the hand back to the floor. Good, Jessica. Step all the way back. Nice long lunge. Come back, downward facing dog. Seems like we haven't been in down dog for a while. Good. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push up. Lower down to your belly, slow, rising up into cobra. Good. Or an upward facing dog, always appropriate. And then coming back to downward facing dog. Good. Then right foot steps forward between the hands. Good. Both hands come inside the front foot, please. Drop the back knee. Start to make circles with that hip. Good. I want you to have the same love that you always have for whatever it is that you're doing, because it gets you out of bed in the morning. And at the same time, I want you to have such a feeling of not needing any of the things that you do, right? To be there, that sense that those things that we do are not what's the most important part of our experience. That's breaking that habit of the mind, right? It's breaking the experience of now being about what I'm doing instead of just what's here. Good. Come back to stillness, please, bringing the front knee over the front ankle. Inhale, both arms to the sky, Anjaneyasana, making sure you have something underneath that back knee if you need it. Good. Squeezing the front foot and the back knee towards each other. So again, you have more of a feeling of lift. So Stacy, either move your hips forward or pull your front heel back. You're too wide. There you go. Nice, you guys. One more breath, heart high. Good. And then release the hands down to the floor. Beautiful. Lift the back knee up, drop the back heel, baby toe parallels back of your mat, and then bring the shoulders up over the hips for warrior two, stretching out through the arms. Good. And again, that feeling, right? Hug the arms, hug the shoulder blades towards each other, but then reach out through the tops of your shoulders so that you have that feeling again of hugging in, but then extending, of being in that suspension. And then let the left hand drop down the back thigh, take the right palm up and back, reverse warrior, without losing that feeling of being in suspension. So you're still hugging in towards the center of your back, and you're still extending out through the tops of your shoulders. Good. So the position doesn't change what's happening inside. And that's kind of the point, right? Can you be present for what's happening inside, not just for what you're doing? Good. Come back up to center, please. Straighten the right thigh for Trikonasana. Good. So both legs are straight. Extend out through that right side body and then pause there for a moment and turn your ribs up towards the ceiling a little bit more. So you actually open your hip a little bit more. Good. And then let that right hand touch down, left arm to the sky. Nice. Good. Again, the practice of meditation is we are asked to do it so much because it's the act of pausing. Right? That's really what it is. It's just an extended pause for your mind where you're actively not attaching your thoughts to the outside world. You're not attaching your experience to the outside world. So it's a pause. So we meditate, learn to pause, so that in a moment you can notice the blue sky, and that takes you into enlightenment. Or in a moment you can get a hug from a friend and suddenly you understand compassion, right? So it's not in the doing, but can you feel what's happening underneath, the current of yourself that is underneath? Take your left hand to your left hip, bend your right knee, look forward beyond the toes of the front foot, slide that hand forward, floor or block, then step up to Ardha Chandrasana, stack the left hip on top of the right. So the whole spiritual practice is, can you start to feel the current of yourself? And then can you wake up to it moment by moment and realize that that is what it means to be now? Good, you're lifting through that inner thigh, you're squeezing the feet, the legs towards each other, squeeze the arms towards each other, and then extend out again. And maybe you pull up so much, you have that feeling of internally drawing towards the center so much that you can come off of your right hand. You can actually float that right hand off the floor. Good, or even just take less weight onto that hand. That's the same, right? Doesn't matter if the hand actually comes off. Great, Lynn and Tom, good job. Good, Andy. Nice, you guys. Release the hand, step all the way back, nice long lunge, and then come back to downward facing dog. Good job. Deep breath in, and then slide forward to plank pose, upward push up. Good, lower down slow, coming through the knees if you need. Rise up, cobra, lift head, neck, and chest. Good. And then come back downward facing dog. And shorten your dog just a little bit, so maybe walking your feet forward just a step, and then you're taking your right hand to reach back for your outer left ankle. So you're reaching underneath you for the outer edge of that left ankle or shin, and you're looking underneath the left armpit. Good. Nice, you guys. One more breath there. Again, drawing up towards the center, the apex of the pose, up into your hips. So you're squeezing the hand and the feet towards each other. Good, release back to center, both hands to the floor, and then go to the other side. Right hand holds you, left arm reaches back and under for the outer right ankle or shin. Good, try not to let your hips swivel here, so you keep them nice and level. You're pulling your thighs back and looking underneath the right armpit. And you're breathing into your back body. Good. Nice, Susan W. Nice, Nancy. Awesome, you guys. And then slowly release back to downward facing dog. Good. Take the right leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Good. Bend the knee, kick your heel in towards your butt, stack the right hip on top of the left, and make circles with that knee. Good. And then lift and open, keep it there. Beautiful. And then pointing the knee down towards the floor, bring that knee forward in wide pigeon pose. Right knee goes towards your right wrist, sliding the left leg back behind you. Good. Nice. Staying upright for a moment just so that you can press into your fingertips, feel the lift of your chest, squeeze your legs towards each other. You might even tuck your back toes. I like doing this. Maybe you do too. Tuck your back toes, and with your hands on the floor, lift your back knee up off of the floor. Yeah. Like, why would I do that? So that you get the full experience of the whole stretch of your thigh as it goes up into your pelvis. So do that for just a second. You get that full stretch on the leg. Then bring the knee back down to the floor. Good. And then let yourself walk forward. Take your forward fold. Beautiful. Right? It's hard to get out of the momentum of the mind, especially if the mind is sure it knows where it's going, right? Pigeon pose. This is what I do. I put myself in this position. It feels like this. And then I walk forward, and then my mind goes somewhere else. I'm on to the next thing. So even underneath that, what is the current of you that is experiencing this pose? What is this moment? I feel like there's a Buddhist poem in there somewhere. What is this moment? Because it's not the emotion. And it's not whatever thoughts are occupying your mind. It's not the pose that you're doing. What is this moment? Can you get a sense of that? You don't have to be able to give a clear answer, but can you have a sense that there is an experience of this moment that is beyond all of those other things? That's waking up. And I love that image that the waking up is not going to come from you doing a perfect practice. The perfect practice, or you having a dedicated practice, means that in the moment where you get the slap in the face, or you're doing something that feels like it's the 100th million time that you've done it and you're just tired of doing it, is that that's how the enlightenment comes. And it's not sitting perfectly under a Bodhi tree. Could be that way. That's perfect too, though, because you're sitting there doing nothing. But your regular life takes you there. You just have to wake up to those moments. Go ahead, take one more breath where you are. And then coming up onto the forearms or the hands, the option here is to bend the back knee, take your heel in towards your butt, reach back. I'm going to say same hand, same foot. So you're just going for the quad stretch. If you really want the twisting quad stretch, you can do that. But I've been liking the staying one side level position lately. Good. So you can be on the forearm, you can be up on the hand, either one. But to feel that whole left side of your body being unified in that stretch. So you're not using the twist to get out of anything. One more breath. Good. And then slowly release the foot back to the floor, please. Nice. Sit towards that right hip, please. Swing the left leg around towards the front of your mat. Good. And you can move that right knee a little wider. I want your left leg to stay straight ahead. So bring the right foot to the inside of the left thigh, Janu Shirshasana first, although Jessica knows where I'm going. Inhale, both arms up to the sky. Little twist to your left and then bow over the left leg. Good. Janu Shirshasana, bringing your head to your knee. That's the idea. Really, it means, can you allow your back to get soft enough to extend enough where your head falls to your knee? Right? The name of the pose, the end result of the pose is through the experience, the actions of the pose. If we just aim for the end result, we're just trying to get there. And the pose becomes just moving rocks. We've missed the experience. Take one more breath, feeling your spine softening and extending. And even if that's not what it feels like in your mind, you know that, okay, that's what this pose is offering. And then walk yourself back up. Because it doesn't always feel in a forward fold like our back is softening. It might feel like it's actually clenching. Good. So bring that left knee in towards your chest, please. Now you're going to reach for that foot with your with your, what hand is that? Your right hand coming into a twist. If you need to extend that right leg straight out onto the floor for balance, you can, but you're reaching across the body for the baby toe edge of your left leg. Extend that leg straight out from your hip, turn to your left, twist. So switch your hands, Andy, so you're holding the foot with your right hand, and then stretch your left hand back behind you. There you go. Good, you guys. Lean slightly forward on your sit bones. Yeah, you got it, Nancy. Nice. Beautiful. One more breath. Chest up. Good. And then come back to center, please. Hugging that knee in towards the chest. Good. Bring the bottoms of the feet together. Knees wide for Baddha Konasana. Inhale the arms up alongside your ears. Press down through your seat. Flex your feet so your toes are engaged. And then a little hug of your knees just so that you are really supporting that pressing down of your sit bones, and then reach forward, no hands, extend forward, forward fold. Good. Again, that little hug of the knees is going to help make it feel like you have the stability to keep pressing back through your sit bones. Good. Your knees are protected. Keep reaching, keep reaching, keep reaching, keep reaching. Good. And then let the hands touch down to the floor, please. As you come into that forward fold, the relaxed forward fold, let your back round. Let your shoulders round. Good. Nice. It's not that letting the back round means that, it's not that when we let the back round that we're somehow no longer doing what the pose is designed to do. It's just we're now doing something else, right? With the back rounded in this position, anyone who's ever practiced yin, you know that there's a lot of benefit to hanging out in this position with the back rounded. It's just doing something else than what we normally are attempting to do. So can you find that current that is running underneath that isn't about what are you trying to do? It's just feeling this is where I am. Good. And then walk yourself back up, please. Nice. Cross the ankles, roll forward to hands and knees, come back to downward facing dog. Good. Bring the left leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Bend the knee, take your heel in towards your butt, stack the left hip on top of the right, circle that knee, make circles. Open the hip. Good. Nice. Try and get full range of motion on your hip. So some of you are doing little tiny circles and barely moving your actual hip. Good. Nice. Then lift and open. There you go. Good, you guys. Point the knee towards the floor. Take that left knee forward and wide pigeon pose on the other side. And again, taking a moment before you fall into your forward fold, where you stay upright, where you actually lift through the front of your pelvis. You actually really work the stretch through the front of that back thigh. Good. Maybe even tucking the back toes, maybe lifting the back knee up off the floor so you get that full sensation of turning your right hip forward and also lifting. So almost like that leg is in Anjaneyasana. Good. And then let the knee come back down to the floor. Nice job. And then go ahead and walk yourself forward onto your forearms or elbows or blocks or whatever you use. Nice. Say we've all heard, I'm sure, a million times the concept or the phrase that before enlightenment, I chopped wood and carried water. And then after enlightenment, I chopped wood and carried water. We usually interpret that to mean, life continues to be life. You still have to do all the things that are being a human being, whether you have that experience of enlightenment or not. That's what's in front of us to do. That's what I mean, is that all those things are just moving rocks. It's not what gets us to that experience, and it's not that the experience of enlightenment changes any of that. So what is this moment? Right? This moment of realization that it's not about what we do. Because you're always just going to be doing things. Can you feel that undercurrent of experience, that undercurrent of self? That's how we get to that point of saying this moment, whatever it happens to be, is bliss, or this moment, whatever it happens to be, is unity. This moment, whatever it happens to be, is peace. Because it's not the thoughts, it's not the emotions, it's not the doing. So what else is there? Can you drop into that? Can you wake up to that? And your mind suddenly have a glimpse and say, oh, that's what this moment is. Like you're struck dumb. One more breath where you are. And then walk yourself back up onto your forearms or your hands. Take the quad stretch if you'd like, bending the right knee, reaching back, same hand, same foot. So again, you're really focusing on just working through that right side of the body. Good. So you're trying to turn your shoulder forward. You're working at turning that right hip point forward. That's why I said the twist sometimes becomes our way of getting out of having to figure out that squared position or that unified action on one side. Good. So the twisting quad stretch is great, but if this doing same hand, same foot feels aggravating to you, stick with it. It's always the practice. What aggravates you, stay with it. Good. And then slowly release. Nice job, you guys. Sit towards that left hip, please. Swing your right leg around towards the front of your mat. Take your left foot to the inside of your right thigh for Janu Shirshasana. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Little twist to your right, and then bow over the right thigh. Good. On the other side of your aggravation is enlightenment. On the other side of your gratification, when you're really satisfied with what you're doing, on the other side of that is enlightenment. What is enlightenment? It's the experiential answer of what is this moment. No longer thinking about what myself is, I'm just being myself. I'm no longer trying to accomplish or get anywhere, I'm just trying to be where I am. Or I just am being where I am. It's funny that I'm even saying it as a teaching, right? Because like I know how to do it. Not quite. But just the contemplation, right, of what is this moment? And knowing that when you sit to meditate is not going to get you somewhere, but it's just breaking that cycle in your mind of being stuck in doing, to pause. And the longer we make that pause, the more comfortable we become in the pause. And then in our regular life, that pause happens and suddenly we get it. We have the realization. It's my hope for you. It's my hope for me. Good. Walk yourself back up, please. Nice. So you're coming into the seated balancing twist. So if you need to stretch your left leg straight out for balance, go for it. But pull your right knee in towards your chest. Reach with your left hand for the baby toe edge of that foot. So you're reaching across the body. And then extend the right thigh forward. Turn your belly to the right and stretch your right arm back behind you. Good. Yeah, and then lean forward towards the front edge of your sit bone so that your shoulders are really right on top of your hips. It's going to feel like you're leaning forward more than you need to. Good, Mark, just don't let that leg swing towards the center. Pull it out to the right. There you go. Good. Nice, Stacy. Open the shoulder a little more. Good, Susan. Both Susans. Beautiful. And then bring it all the way back to center. Nice, Tom. Hug that knee in. Bring the bottoms of the feet together again. Baddha Konasana. Good. Inhale the arms up alongside your ears. Again, flexing the feet, engage the legs. So that little hug of the knees up and in. And then start to lean forward, reaching into your forward fold, extending out through the upper spine, but then pressing back and down through your sit bones. So do both. Good. And reach and reach and reach and reach and reach. And then let your hands touch down. And as your hands touch down into that full relaxed forward fold, allow your spine to round. Relax your head, relax your shoulders, relax your jaw, relax your tongue, relax your knees, relax your everything. Keep your feet a little bit awake. Good. To allow yourself to experience what it is to be rounded in the pose, but not trying to do anything in the pose. So pause for the mind. Good. And then slowly walk yourself all the way back up. Nice. Bring your knees facing up towards the ceiling. So feet to the floor, knees up. Balancing for boat pose. So if you have a rolled blanket underneath you, you might want to come off of it. If your blanket is mostly flat, that's fine. And then, yeah, hugging behind the thighs, scoop the belly, lift the shins parallel to the floor. Good. And then stretching the arms straight out if you can. You can continue to hold the legs if that's what works better. Good. Chest up. Nice. Now arms up alongside your ears. Again, full extension. Pull up like you're pulling your belly to your thighs to your belly. Good. And then any amount, straighten the legs. You can even let yourself lean back as you straighten the legs just a little bit. Good. And then pull the knees in, belly towards your knees, squeeze in, get taller, more vertical, and then extend all the way out. Good. Maybe leaning back and then pull your knees in, belly to your thighs or thighs to your belly. Good. And then straighten the legs one more time. Good, 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 good. And then knees in towards your chest, release the feet. Good job, Jessica. Good job, Harriet. Good job, everybody. That was tough. Good. And then find your way slowly onto your back. Good. So feet to the floor. Oh, some of you were hovering there with your feet off the floor the whole time. That's cute of you. Find your way onto your backs. Good. Pause for a moment with the knees bent. Yeah. And then take your right knee in towards your chest, please. Good. Extend the left leg straight down to the floor. Good. Bring that right knee wide towards the armpit for a half happy baby. Reach inside the knee for the ankle or the foot. Good. Stacking the heel on top of the knee. Good. Relax your head, Tom. There you go. Nice, you guys. The weight of the hand and the shoulder is just that. It's just weight. Good. Laura, move your knee a little wider. Pull your heel in a little more. There you go. Good. One more breath. Nice. And then start to straighten the leg any amount. It could still be over the shoulder, but start to straighten, pressing the foot into the hand. And again, the weight of the hand being a little bit of a support, so you have something to push into. Good. And then bend the knee again, all the way back in towards your chest. Squeeze. Good. And then take that knee across the body, spinal twist over to the left. Good. Letting the right arm extend out wide to the right or up over the ear. Good. And then bring it back to center, please. Hug that knee in. And then release that leg down to the floor. Bring the left knee up and in towards your chest. Good. Bring the knee wide towards the outer shoulder, reaching for the ankle or the foot. Half happy baby, stack the knee. So yeah, Andy, if you reach inside the knee with your elbow, it's a little easier. Good. So your knee should be the widest part of the pose. Your heel is actually slightly angled in. So again, the rotation of the leg is really coming from the hip, as the hip has to go externally rotate a little bit more, but your shin is slightly in. So you're not falling out through the knee. Good, you guys. What is this moment? It's not the pose that I'm doing. It's not the physical sensations of my body. It's not what my mind is thinking about. Can you feel the current that's underneath, even if you have no name for it? Start to straighten the left leg any amount, please. Good. Try to keep that angle, right, of over the shoulder. Try to keep that angle where your inner knee is just a little bit wide and your shin is hugging slightly in. Good. And then bend the knee again, please, bringing it all the way straight back into the chest hug. And then bring that knee across your body, spinal twist. Left arm goes wide or up alongside your ear. Awesome. Come back to center, please. Bringing that knee in. Bring both knees in towards your chest. Good. Full happy baby. Draw both knees wide. Reach for the ankles or the feet. Good. Bringing the low back to the floor. Giving a little hug of your knees in. Good. Beautiful. And then squeeze the knees in towards your chest. Bring your forehead up to meet your knees. Hug, 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 hug. Because some of you are still in happy baby, so bring the knees together and squeeze. Good. And then slowly release, please. Nice. Stretch your legs straight out in front of you. Flex the feet. Take your arms up alongside your ears. Good. Like you're in a supine Tadasana. So you're pressing down through your heels. And that pressing down might pop your thighs up. So draw the tops of your thighs down. And then feel that subtle lift in and up through the low belly, the softening of the back of the front rib cage. So your back ribs get nice and wide. Chest is open, arms reaching, long throat. Good. One more deep breath, engaging everything. And then release everything. Let the feet drop open. Take the arms alongside you, palms up. And settle yourself for Shavasana. If you need props, make sure that you're warm. Do what feels good to do. And then contemplate maybe in your Shavasana, what is this moment? Seek out that undercurrent that is beneath the thoughts, that's beneath the emotions, that's beneath sensation. What is this moment? Very gently bring the awareness back to your breath. Let your body begin to stretch and move in whatever ways serve it well. And as you're ready, draw your knees in towards your chest and roll to the right side. And take a moment there before you begin to push the floor away. Come back to an upright seated position. Bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm, or whatever mudra has been serving you well. So in my mind, we say all the time that we're on a journey, right? A spiritual journey or a spiritual path, which implies that there's some destination that we're going to arrive at one day. We're going to get somewhere. So maybe instead of being in that mentality where your mind says, I have to keep going and going and going because I have to get there, maybe instead you're in a continuous process of waking up. So instead of getting somewhere, there's only the moment of awareness that says, here I am. The experience of this is what this moment is, which means that we can relax. And I like this about the way the Buddhists talk about the process a lot, is that we can relax about what's going on in our lives, the things that we have to do and the things that are happening. Because that's not what's going to determine what we feel or what that undercurrent beneath the surface is. Can't determine it. So you're in a process of waking up. You don't need to go anywhere. And the things that are in your life to do them because it's in you to do them and they mean something to you. But don't imagine for a second that it's going to get you somewhere. It's just moving rocks. Any moment you have the opportunity to just be where you are and to feel that undercurrent of the self that is here. And the more we wake up, the more we learn to pause the mind and wake up. Then what we do in the world, what we feel from the world is that completeness. It is the peace. It is the wholeness. It is the everything we think we're trying to get to. And that's the joke, right? It's never been anywhere except right here. So make your practice that, answering the question, what is this moment? And then when you find out, come tell me, because I'm looking too. We're waking up. We're not on a journey. We're just waking up. That's it. Nowhere to go. So relax. I know that's impossible, but relax. We'll close with the sound of Om, with that attempt to feel the bigness of us so we can relax. Deep breath in. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week until I see you again. Just a reminder that my previously what